We have a number of calls to get through today. Checkpoint Software, Joe, upgraded to overweight. That's at Piper Sandler. They take the price target up $40 to $260 from $220. They like the momentum. They think it's going to improve. The narrative's going to get better. And they might be able to get double-digit growth in the future, which will drive increased multiple expansion.
And this is the cybersecurity name that I was referencing at the top of the show. It kind of flies a little bit underneath the radar. Israeli-based company pressing towards what is an all-time high, reasonable valuation, somewhere around 30 times. It's a mid-cap size company at around $25 billion. Since the election, by the way, the EIS, the Israeli ETF, has been very strong. Israeli, second leading exporter of technology in the world. Checkpoint is playing squarely in the cybersecurity theme that's right now dominating the bullish narrative of markets.
Jason, Joe, and Steve all own Uber. Jason, I'm going to give you this. Outperformed, at Evercore today. You can take a look at the stock as well. 115 is their new price target. They believe in ride sharing. They think it's going to kickstart the physical AI revolution. And they are bullish. And they also, by the way, are bullish on the long-term growth prospects of Waymo.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I would agree with this call, Scott. I mean, obviously, it was a really strong quarter, in my opinion. Revenue was up $6.8 billion, which is $5 billion more than it was year over year last year, which was a really strong number. Gross bookings were up. The guide was 17 to 21%. Now, the street viewed that as being conservative, so the stock sold off around 8%, which I thought was a tremendous buying opportunity. They're converting cash flow at 90%. So I think this stock, the ecosystem, this robo-taxi news was a little bit of an overhang early on, but I think the street is starting to understand that story, and that's why I continue to remain bullish on Uber.
Weiss, as much as you're getting a little more cautious on the market, and you've made that clear through many moves that you've made, what about Uber?
Well, as you recall, I sold some of it, I guess, a couple weeks ago after Hackman came out, and I agreed with his tweet, but moved it up. I don't see him taking over the stock, but it brought attention to it, taking over the company, rather. So, look, I just think the economics, the good news is on robo-taxis, I don't think they're going to be for a while. The bad news is I can't figure out the economics. It's going to cost somebody more. And that cost is either going to hit margins for Waymo and for Uber. I mean, Waymo loses money, or it's going to increase the cost of a ride. Either way, will slow down the growth of those companies.
Do you think if the economy slows that Uber will feel the effect of it, or do you think because it's a affluent rider, if you would, that they're impervious to that?
I think that they've got some cushion against it, some protection, such as business riders and for the affluent. However, I do think the marginal buyer is going to think twice about that, and where there is mass transportation, go to that.
I don't know if we've seen Uber really go through a weak economic period that they had to navigate.
Good point.
Chipotle upgraded today, overweight, price target 70 from 65 at Morgan Stanley. What do you think?
And this is where the tariff conversation comes into play. CEO Scott Boatwright saying, no, we're not passing on the effect of tariffs to the consumers. Chipotle, we're going to eat the tariff ourselves individually. So I think this stock is
fitting for a restaurant.
How novel.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have they raised prices?
Yeah.
They
a ton.
They maybe more than any other quick serve, whatever you want to call them, have had the ability to raise prices over the last 5 years more than anybody else.
And if they don't, your avocado
I was getting to that, and there's your ability to say, okay, no, we're not going to pass through the tariff effect, but guess what? We raised prices on you 3 months prior, and 6 months from now, we're going to raise them again.
They've amortized the price increases over the last 5 years.
They've gotten in front of it.
Yeah. Allstate, Joe. I'll tell you what, insurance company stocks have done well, obviously. This gets upgraded at Argus.
Just gets upgraded now, huh? Look, we talked about just anyone who's got homeowner insurance, auto insurance, you're paying those premiums. You know the pricing power that these companies have had as it relates to inflation. And collectively, whether it's Chubb or Progressive or Allstate, Travelers, they're all working really well in a financial sector that's taking some form of leadership in the market here over the last 6 months.
All right.